Hi, hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Liliana, aka Hija que Cura. I am a first generation born Chicana Indígena. I am a psychic medium, cosmic channel, artist, and working bruja or witch for those of you who don't speak Spanish. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you or kind of just discussing how I, as the title states, manifested my home. I do not do this alone, okay? I did this with my partner, co-collaboration with my partner and my spiritual counsel. But before I even get into this, I want to preface this video with this. Everything that I share with you here today, now, and with those in, IRL and in other virtual spaces, all come from a place of my own personal practice, my personal belief system, and lived experiences. And so please feel free to incorporate what I share with you that resonates and to leave behind that which doesn't. And, if it doesn't, that's cool. We're all beautiful, amazing beings that know what's most supportive for us. So trust that. All right. So how did I manifest my home? Let's get into this. So it was the summer of July, or it was the summer of 2018. It was July 2018 to be exact. My partner and I had been wanting to have our own home, our own place where it was just he and I, no other individuals living with us, or us living with other individuals. And at the time it felt unachievable because of financial reasons. But as I believe magic to be and how it works is that with any intention, any hope, any desire, we need to be active participants in our lives and in the achieving of said hopes and desires. And so the desire was to have our own home, right? But we needed further action of that. I can't just have that hope if I'm not going to apply effort and intention towards that. So I started looking at homes, on Zillow. I started looking at homes just to get an idea of what was available in my area or the area that we wanted to live in. And I got an email for a home. We looked at it, didn't work out for some, universal cosmic reasons, along with some shady reasons that I'm not going to share. But thank goddess, it did not work out that we did not get that home. And so August 2018, my partner and I decided to use magic. He and I like to practice candle magic together, and so that's what we did. We had our altar set up. We always have an altar in the home. We had our candle dressed and prepared, and so if that's something that you want to learn more about, let me know in the comments, and I can maybe do a video, or you can join me over at Patreon where I have discussed that already. So we decided we're going to do some magic. We're going to do some candle magic. We're going to get this ball going. So it was a new moon in Gemini. We had our candle dress prepared. We had our intention set. And one of the ways in which I really like to do any kind of manifestation or spell work, healing work, is to write letters. So that's what he and I did. First of all, he and I each wrote a list of what we wanted in a home, the physical qualities, right? So that meant what do we want it to look like? How many rooms? How many bathrooms? The flooring? Detail. We went into detail of what we wanted in our dream home. But most importantly, we also wrote the qualities that we wanted the home to provide us spiritually and emotionally. Example of that would be what would a home, or what does a home mean to us? What did we want this home to provide us? How did we want to grow? How did we want to expand? What did we want to create in a home? How did we want to grow with one another in this space? And we do that so we can connect not just with the external material qualities of the manifestation of our desire, but we wanted to connect with the soul, the truth, the emotion of that, right? Because our desires are extensions of ourselves, and we can't just connect with I just want this. It's important to do the inner working of understanding why we want that, what it looks like, so we can be really detailed and detailed in what it is that we're calling in, because then we're like, oh, I can call in a home, I can call in whatever we want. But adding those attributes and those details really help morph it and create it, right? And so we did that. And then we swapped our lists and we shared, we read each other's, what it was that he wanted, he read what I wanted. And we did that for the purpose of intimacy. Because I reading his list, he reading my list, we were able to get excited and raise our energy, because energy is everything in magic. But to witness and to experience and to feel and to hold what my partner was hoping for, his desires, was something so profound that I don't even have the words for it. And to also experience and witness he do the same for me was just, I mean, as intimate as you can possibly be. At least that's how I like to experience intimacy. And so we did that, and we giggled and we laughed and we were excited because we saw that we had similar things. And so we then combined our lists, and that's when I wrote the letter. And so I write this letter the way in which I wrote it was me as my future self writing a letter to us in that moment, and writing it as a letter of, hey, look at this happened, you got this, this is what it looks like, this is how you received it, so on and so forth. And it's important in magic to visualize your said desire as already happened, or really viewing yourself, visioning yourself in your hands, experiencing it, living it, because it raises your vibration, it raises your hope, it makes it reality in our mind and our minds and subconscious. And so some of the fun things that I did with this letter was I used color magic. And what color magic is when we are utilizing the magical attributes of a color. So traditionally, there are some rules of thought where like each color has a very specific meaning. I come from the belief system where I use that as a guide, but I also combine my own perspective of what a color means to me. And so traditionally green tends to be used with like business, money, luck, so on and so forth, sometimes healing. But for you, when you look at the color green, it may mean the opposite. It may be something that's putrid, right? It may mean like, I might just your body may react oppositely to it, right? Or an example would be like pink. Pink can sometimes be attributed as like a healing, loving color, color for love, color for calling in, color for friendship, so on and so forth. Sweetness, right? Or even working with spirit. When I look at pink, I'm like, ooh, that makes me feel abundant. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel hopeful. It makes me feel confident. It makes me feel joy in its truest form. And for others, some folks really despise that color. It might be like, ugh, that makes me think of like Pepto-Bismol. I don't want to work with that color. So you understand where I'm coming from. Obviously, with all magic and just life in general, we have our guides, whether it be, a person or material, but you have to use yourself and your beliefs and your morals alongside a guide to help form your own opinion and to form your own magic and your own actions, right? And so color magic can be like, I used markers when I wrote it. You can use paints, you can use your spit mixed with paint, you can use flower essences with paint, so on and so forth. There's like more things like that you can incorporate to really make it your own. I'm not going to go into detail in this video. Again, if that's something that you want to learn more about, comment below, or you can subscribe to my Patreon where I do talk more about magic. Anywho, so that's what we did. We wrote a list. We took the time in this new moon, because as you know, new moons are about planting seeds of intention, planting seeds of calling in and invoking in. That calling in and invoking in isn't only associated with positive things or things that we want to see more of. It can be calling in healing. It can be calling in the ease and grace of releasing something that no longer supported for us. So you get the idea. We did that again, New Moon Gemini. So that was in August of 2018. Then come March, it was Easter weekend. That Saturday, our realtor sent me a text about a home that was soon to be available and hadn't hit the market. The first offer, they backed out. And so she had asked, would you like to look at this before it does? And I said yes. So we looked at it the next day, which was Easter, and fell in love with the home. We then put in an offer. I believe it was Monday we put in an offer. They accepted it on Tuesday. We moved in a month and a half later. And so there are other things I want to add to that because, you know, I 100%, my partner and I believe that this happened because we absolutely manifested it alongside with spirit. And I think that's something to acknowledge that's really important when we are working with magic or utilizing magic. We are in co-collaboration with spirit, the universe, God, you know, whomever, whatever it is that you subscribe to. It is co-collaboration. We are not just, this is what I want, here, make it happen, and then we leave it at that. We have to be active participants. And so an example of that would be, you know, we wanted a home. We weren't sure what we could afford. And so we took practical steps in, you know, meeting with a realtor, meeting with like a loan officer, being able to determine what it is that we could actually afford that was in, you know, those types of things, right? Because it's like, oh, I found my dream home, but it's like way out of my budget, and then we get discouraged and thinking that like, oh, magic isn't real or I can't have what I want. That's not the case. We have to be open to fluid movement and fluctuation and listening to what our guides, our beloved ancestors want to share with us and guide us. And so that was part of like the practicality that went into the magic. And I think it's important to combine the practical with the magical when it comes to manifesting our desires. And so another aspect of this was, you know, we had our heart set on staying within a certain area because I wanted to be really close to family. And it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening, and I knew, I kept hearing from my guides, I had this feeling in my body. I'm like, okay, it's not going to be in this area that we want to stay in. And so we finally said, okay, yes, we are willing to look we'll look at this other city just to see. As soon as we said yes, not only to one another and to our spiritual teams and to our realtor, it was a week later. It truly was a week after we said yes, we are open to looking in another area. When we saw the house. And when we're practicing manifestation, it's important that we're listening and working with our intuition. You know, whether it's a gut feeling or a gut knowing, or you are someone that already works with your spiritual counsel being your spirit guides, past loved ones, ancestors, angels, galactic beings, you know, whomever you already communicate with. They're guiding you because they want to see you happy and they want to see you live the life of your dreams because you are deserving of it and it is possible. And so I want to say that when we are practicing any kind of manifestation work, it's a combination of the practical and the magical. We have to be present with what our desires are, how we feel about our desires, and the way we are active participants in achieving said desires. I also want to say that, you know, it goes without saying that in the society of the world that we live in, so many of us are dealt different cards. The reality, in fact, is there are many who have advantages and privileges that are not given to others. And so there are many factors that we can take into hand. And you know, I also want to say that when we're talking about manifestation, I don't want it to be confused with the concept or belief of law of attraction. Do I believe that law of attraction is real? Yes, but I have conflicting, or I have an issue with the way in which it's presented in this day and age, where folks, I believe, can be kind of problematic. Like I've heard folks, or I've seen it be shared with other individuals saying, you know, if you think negatively, then that negative thing is going to happen to you. Example, you know, you got into that car accident because you willed that car accident to happen. I don't believe that's true. I find that to be unethical and problematic because you did not get into a car accident, you did not experience trauma because you willed it to happen. I think the concept of manifestation and law of attraction, the root core, what I believe is the root core and what makes it real is the power of our mind, because our minds are powerful. And so if we believe that we can do something, we then feel motivated to do something. And it's about where we're placing our focus, our drive, our intention that allows us to feel empowered in our steps. Because we can absolutely live the lives that we desire and dream of. But we must also have self-accountability as being active members and roles in how we choose to move through our life. Yes, circumstances are different for folks, and yes, situations may shift that make it feel impossible, and it can be easier said than done depending on your circumstance, but I'm here to share with you that it is possible. And so that's how my partner and I manifested our home. I mean, down to like the beams. Like, we wanted wood beams, we wanted an old home, we wanted big windows, like everything that we wanted in that home, like in our home, minus like a bedroom and bathroom. We got everything. And to further prove that, when we moved into the home, when we first walked into the home, I thought the first thing was like, this reminds me of my childhood home. Just the feel of it, the energy of it, just reminds me so much of my childhood home. And after we moved in, and I was like looking at the plants that were growing here, and I really got to like really look. I mean, we have a bougainvillea, we have a bay tree, we have an olive tree in the front, we have a gardenia plant in the front. The bougainvillea and the olive tree I had growing up in my childhood home. And then afterwards, I was speaking to my mom, and she shared with me about how mi abuela, my grandmother, her favorite flower was gardenias. And I thought, holy shit, one, I didn't know that. And two, it's just, this was meant to be our home, because here I have a blessing from mi abuela in the front of our home with this beautiful gardenia plant and these beautiful plants that are growing around us that are magical, can support us. And it just was further validation that this was our home, and spirit supported us. And with an open mind, with trust and with faith, we, said yes to the universe and what was possible, even if we didn't know could be possible, right? Because that's also like part of having trust and faith and magic, is it's not so much about knowing what the end goal and accepting that the end result we may not understand, and the process may not always feel supportive, but we have faith and trust nonetheless that it will be of our highest and best if we open ourselves up to vulnerability and open our hearts up to not knowing for certain, right? All right, my loves, thank you for being here. If you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want to know more about things that I've mentioned, comment, leave it in the comments. You can also have access to other magic videos or magic class if you want to work with me in that way over at my Patreon, which is in the link below. Yeah, so thank you for being here. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day, and that what it is that you are working towards or hoping for and manifesting comes to you tenfold with ease and grace and in abundance.